Hi, thanks for being with me today. Hope you're keeping well. I just want to share some thoughts with you today from my quiet time this morning when I was looking at John chapter 15, verses 9 to 11. And let me just remind you what Jesus says in that passage. He says this, as the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I've kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I've told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. Now, when I was thinking about this morning in my quiet time with God, I began to think about whether or not we sometimes overcomplicate the faith. Do we overcomplicate our walk with God? I'm not saying that our walk with God should be easy, because it is never easy to follow in the footsteps of Christ, and being a Christian is not easy. But could it be that we overcomplicate it, and we might need to simplify our approach to discipleship a bit. In this passage from John 15, 9 to 11, it seems to me that what Jesus is saying here is that discipleship shouldn't be a burden, but that it's actually to do with developing a rhythm of life. Jesus is not calling us to complexity. In this passage, he's calling us to connection. He's calling us to be connected to the Father through him. And that connection with God is achieved through three things in this passage. Firstly, our experience of love. Secondly, our experience of obedience. And thirdly, our experience of joy. A love that exists in our relationship with God that doesn't depend on performance. An obedience to God that isn't exhausting, but is actually life-giving, and a sense of joy that runs deeper within us than our circumstances in life. And it seems to me that experiencing love and obedience and joy is actually the secret to a simple spiritual life. So let's explore those three ideas from John 15, verses 9 to 11. Firstly, this idea of love. And it seems to me this passage is saying that love is not so much a feeling, so much as a habitat where we live. In verse 9, Jesus says, as the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Now remain in my love. Now this is really interesting, because it's not kind of like a sort of human grade love that Jesus is inviting us into. He's inviting us into an experience of the same love that exists between the Father and the Son and the Son and the Spirit and the Spirit and the Father. He's inviting us into a kind of experience of love that is it's held within the Godhead. It's so deep, it's so profound, it's beyond any human experience of love. It's a divine love that is completely unique, and Jesus is inviting us into that. And he says, remain in my love. Now that Greek word remain, meno, means to abide, it means to dwell, it means to live, it means to stay. So I think that in this passage, what Jesus is inviting us into is not to kind of visit his love occasionally. He's inviting us to live within his love, to abide within his love, for the love of God to sort of become our home, if you like, where we abide. So that being the case, love is not an emotion for us to chase. It's not a feeling for us to pursue. Instead, if we are to abide in God's love, then it's an atmosphere that Jesus calls us to live in. It's a reality. It's a kind of state of being that Jesus is calling us to live in. When Jesus invites us in this passage to remain in his love or abide in his love, think about it in terms of us moving house. We're moving out of the neighbourhood that we used to be into, and we're moving into a new neighbourhood, which is the experience of God's love in our lives. So living in love, abiding in love, remaining God's love is actually the foundation of the Christian faith. It's not the icing on the cake. And this is important, as we're going to see in a moment, because living in love, living in the love of God, then brings a transformation to our lives, which brings us to the second point from this passage, which is this: that obedience is the pathway to love. It's not the price of love. In verse 10, Jesus says, "If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love." Now, too often we read that as a kind of transaction, where it's Jesus saying, if you stay in my love, if you keep my commands, then you will stay in my love, as if keeping his commands is the sort of price we have to pay to experience his love. Do you see what I mean? But I don't think it is a transactional comment. Obedience is not the price we pay in order to experience God's love. Our love relationship with God is sustained through obedience. It's not initiated by it. So Jesus is saying, if you keep my commands, you will remain in my love. He's saying that, the way to experience love, the way to abide in love, the way to continue in love is through obedience. It's not the price. It's the pathway. Does that make sense? I think we need to think about obedience as Christians, obedience to God, as a little bit like the GPS in the car, that it's the route, it's the map that we're following to wholeness of life. It's not a toll booth. It's not a toll booth where we have to pay the price of obedience in order to get on the motorway. It's the GPS that keeps us on the right route. Does that make sense? I think that's what Jesus is saying here. And of course, that is the model that Jesus sets for us in his own relationship with his Father. Jesus kept the Father's commands within the context of love, not within the context of legalism. So in that sense, then, I think we need to avoid performative obedience. We need to stop thinking that we've got to be obedient in order to earn God's love. That's what I want to call performative obedience. And we've got to replace it with responsive obedience, which is to say, we recognize God's love for us. And as a response to that, we want to be obedient to him. It's a little bit like watching two people dancing the tango or something, where, one of the partners is leading and the other is kind of following along in sync with them. Well, imagine God as the lead partner holding you, and your obedience is following on in the dance around him. Does that make sense? So if you feel in your life that in any sense obedience to God is a sort of drudgery, if it's boring for you, then it may be that you are thinking of love as obedience as sort of performative rather than responsive, rather than as a love response. If obedience is boring, or it's drudgery, or it's hard work, or it's leading you to burnout, or worry or anxiety, then I would say, think about, are you seeing it as performance, or are you seeing it as a love response? And the final point that I just want to draw out from John 15, 9 to 11 today is this, that joy is the product of remaining in God's love. It's not the goal of striving. In verse 11, Jesus says, "I have told you all this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete." So joy is available to us through abiding in Christ. Joy is not mood-based. It's not emotion-based. There's a difference between joy and happiness, I think. Happiness comes and goes according to what happens to us. The circumstances of life can make us happy, or they can make us unhappy. But joy is this kind of deep-rooted sort of, unmoving sense of peace and equanimity and awareness that we are in the presence of God and all things will be well. Joy is not based on our moods. It's not based on our emotion. It's not manufactured through the circumstances of life being ideal. Instead, joy emerges from relationship. When we are abiding in a relationship with God, abiding in a relationship with Jesus, then we experience joy. And the lovely thing I think about this verse is that Jesus says, so that your joy may be complete. It's not a partial thing. It's not just like, oh, we get a little bit of joy as Christians. Our joy will be complete. Jesus wants to give us every possible experience of joy. John 10:10, he says, I've come so that you may have life in all its fullness. That's what Jesus wants for you, is not just a little bit of joy or a little bit of sense of fulfillment in your life, but complete joy and complete fulfillment. So don't settle for anything less in life. Don't settle for anything less than complete joy and complete fulfillment. So in conclusion, then, I would say that love and obedience and joy they are our experience of connection with God. They are elements of an integrated life that comes through abiding in God. It's not sequential. It's not like, well, if I obey, then God will love me and then I will know joy. It's not sequential. These things happen all at once. Love, obedience and joy. So let's not overcomplicate the faith. The Christian faith is never going to be easy, but I believe we are called to simplify our own experience of faith, which is to abide in God's love, to obey him, and to be filled completely with the experience of joy. Let's strive for simplicity in our faith through love, obedience and joy. And in that way, we will be fully alive to God. Hope that's been helpful. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this passage, John 15:9-11. And thank you for giving me so much of your time today. And I look forward to being with you again really soon. Take care. Bye-bye.